To quote the baddest motherfucker to ever plant his feet in a fighting stance on God's green earth, Bruce Lee, the successful warrior is the average man with laser-like focus. And he's not talking about just being a warrior or just going to war. He's talking about anything, any task, any achievement you would like to complete, you can complete with the right focus. See, us as human beings, we're tremendously powerful. Even though you wouldn't know it from what we're taught about ourselves. We're capable of exponentially more than we could ever imagine, to be honest. I mean, look at fucking Navy SEALs. I mean, they're not aliens. They're just normal people who are tough as fuck. Mentally tough. There's this dude named Jack LaLanne. He's known as the godfather of fitness. At 70 years old, swam a mile, handcuffed and shackled, against a strong wind and current while towing 70 rowboats behind him. At 70 fucking years old.
Go, Jack, go, his longtime friends yelled, in between their sips of beer and drags off cigarettes.
I can't even pull the wool from over my own eyes when I get in a relationship. But anyways, welcome to the Daily Crane. So, for today's News Blues, our first story comes amidst a shiesty summer. Smith & Wesson has reported that their firearm sales for this quarter, as opposed to last quarter, have doubled. And I don't believe it. You're telling me we're above Canada. This is bullshit. No. But seriously, like, welcome to America, the place where, like, everybody has a gun. Like, I mean, just don't fuck around in America, man. Just respect other people, respect their belongings, you know what I mean? There's no need for this, because everybody's got one. It's not a secret. Especially in the South, where I am. So our next story. A UK horticultural firm named Thompson and Morgan have developed a plant that grows both tomatoes and potatoes. They call it a tomtato, which oddly enough is what my ex used to refer to my penis as during Mission Impossible roleplay. But that's for another story. Fucking whore. This firm says that these plants are not genetically modified. However, maybe that's telling the truth in 2020. I don't know anymore. I mean, this fucking year needs a cover band called 3 Dimensions Down. I kind of wondered how long it would take to get one of these. Not that long. Second day, here we go. A Florida man was arrested for entering a speedway, waiting till the cashier was preoccupied, and stealing 13 scratch-off lottery tickets. Let's go. Grab them scratch that shit. Got a free ticket. He decided to return back to the store to cash in one of those tickets that won $35. He reminds me of like that ghetto ass dude you'll meet at the pawn shop. Way overly friendly, like following you around like, hey big homie, what you doing, bro? Saying shit, and his ultimate goal is to like follow you out so he can ask you for a ride. So, for our final News Blues story of the day, you know, I was really excited to have 2 Florida men in the same day. But this guy dressed up as the Grim Reaper and spent all day walking along Florida beaches to warn beachgoers of COVID-19.
Beaches.
Daniel Olfelder is an outspoken Florida Beaches for All activist.
The message is that I love our beaches. I know how important it is to come to our beaches.
This guy was a fucking prick in high school. There's no way around it. This guy showed up to parties in 11th grade with a Sega Genesis, a sport coat, and fucking seltzer water, okay? Oh, because that's exactly what I want to think about if I was at the beach with my family and kids is, oh, who is this fucking weird guy walking around in this? Oh, no, it's okay, sweetie. Fuck that guy.
I love the beaches being open. I've been in self-isolation for 2 months. This is just wonderful.
Be like this guy. So to start off our daily MMA programming, I gotta touch on this just because I was super pissed when I found out, because I made a whole video yesterday, went into my fucking magical brain of knowledge, preached. Now it seems that the fight has fallen through. Dustin Porier says they failed in negotiations. They're not paying him what he wants. I could kind of understand Dustin Porier being like that in this situation. He is the one with something to lose. As I touched on yesterday, I think he would probably win the fight. He's coming off a win. He's not the one with something to prove. But I just find it funny that Dustin Porier, is complaining so much about pay when he's by far one of the better paid fighters in the UFC. So here's some numbers for you. His last 6 fights, he's made at least $200,000. Dustin, I get it, bro. Like, you're up there, you're one of the best in the world. But look, not everybody can be a Conor McGregor or a Khabib here. Trust me, I'm looking forward to the days where every fighter, everybody in the UFC is a millionaire. I would love to see that, but we're not there yet. So you got to just suck it up and fight, to be honest. Thinking, fighter pay is such a hot topic nowadays. Everybody's talking about it, especially big sports heads that don't really fuck with MMA like that. I figured, why not? Let's try to actually make some sense of this and figure out how bad the problem is, or even if there really is a problem. So numbers wise, I've got some here. Just to give some perspective, the average household income in America is $45,000 a year. Where they do that at? In 2019, 214 fighters made 6 figures or more. That's 36%, from 33% in 2018. So at least it feels like there's some sort of progress, at least in the short term. The highest paid champion in 2019 was Khabib Nurmagomedov. He earned $6,090,000. My OCD makes my brain want to explode at that number. The lowest paid champion was Rose Namajunas, who made $195,000, which is ironic considering she only fought once and lost her belt. So in the big picture of it all, UFC fighters were paid 16% of total revenue in 2019. That seems a little low, Nah, that's pretty low. Considering that in the 2021 season, NFL players will make 48% of total revenue. Speaking of which, the season just started. Claim your team. Las Vegas Raiders. First year. Know what's up. Of 450 active NBA players in 2019, they earned roughly 38% of the $7.4 billion revenue, equating to an average salary of $6.4 million. And that's kind of disturbing. Could be considering players who don't even hardly play make as much as arguably one of the most dominant fighters in the history of the UFC, Khabib. That's just, something seems a little off there. There are a couple factors we have to look into in order to compare it fairly. The first I would have to say is job difficulty. The NFL, the NBA, and the UFC, which job is most difficult? Trying not to get kicked in the head or choked unconscious for up to 25 minutes? NFL and NBA players aren't subject to an easier workload because you also have to factor in that they perform so much more. NFL team, they will play 16 games in a season. Cowboy, Cerrone, no fighter is going to fight 16 times in 1 year. In the NBA, it's even more ridiculous. They play 82 games. I don't know if you ever played a basketball game. It's exhausting. Really hard on your fucking knees and your back. No good. It's job hazard. Now, definitely the injuries in MMA are significantly worse than basketball. However, football, that's really arguable. Even though targeting, since that became a thing, I'm guessing the risk has went down by a little bit, but I'm still going to say that the UFC fighters are the most underappreciated, underpaid athletes when you come to think about it. Just think about the risk they're taking. all to entertain us. It's way more than the other sports. And it's just so a big fight that I wanted to touch on yesterday. Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa. I'm a big believer in you're only as good as your last performance. Israel's last performance was not that good, man. Like, dude, Yoel was being a fucking bully to this guy. It was funny, kind of sad. But Israel, what the fuck, dude? You're like a possible GOAT. Not the kind of performance I wanted to see. And then after the fight, you're talking about, look at his leg. Look at his leg. And how Yoel was just standing there like, and Israel all like. So yeah. And then when I think about Paulo Costa, he's the new Brazilian scary guy, man, is what it seems like. You know, so long Vanderlei, get the fuck out of here. Thiago Silva, no. You know, Paulo Costa, he's trying to be the new era of that. Of course, I do show a little bit of favoritism to like brute fighters who just go after it just for the entertainment value. Even though me myself, if I was fighting, I'm way more of like a counter striker. I mean, I'm not gonna go and say that he's anywhere near as skilled at striking as Israel Adesanya. That would be kind of foolish. As far as I know, his ground game is better, so you know, there's always that. But I mean, who's really taking Israel down like that? And he's got things waiting on takedowns. He's got knees, he'll time and everything. This will be a stand-up fight, I believe. If I was betting, Israel was getting knocked around a little bit by Kelvin's power. So imagine Paulo's. That being said, Israel very well could just walk him right into something and sleep him fast, make him look silly. That's definitely a possibility. This is really one of those fights I always say you'll know in about the first 30 seconds. You know, as soon as we see how they're interacting, we'll know what's up. That's it for today. Thank you for watching the Daily Crane. If you would, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you right back here next episode. Peace.